The old bus rumbled across the desolate landscape. Dust swirled in its wake. Inside, passengers dozed, lost in their thoughts. They were oblivious to the danger lurking just ahead. They believed this was just another routine journey. Little did they know, fate had other plans. This was no ordinary bus, and these were no ordinary passengers. The air hung heavy with the smell of sweat and diesel. Outside, the sun beat down mercilessly. The monotonous drone of the engine provided a lullaby for some. Others stared out the windows, lost in contemplation. Among them sat a group, indistinguishable from the other travelers. Their eyes, however, held a different kind of awareness. A steely glint betrayed their true nature. They were the silent guardians, the unseen protectors. They were special forces returning from a covert operation. The leader, a man hardened by years of experience, felt a prickle of unease. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something wasn't right. He subtly scanned the horizon, his senses on high alert. The vast emptiness of the desert seemed to whisper warnings. He silently alerted his team, a silent signal passing between them. They were ready for anything. The bus slowed down, approaching a narrow pass. The engine coughed, momentarily breaking the silence. It was then that it happened. A deafening roar shattered the stillness. Two jeeps, armed with mounted machine guns, emerged from the rocks. They roared to life, flanking the bus. Masked men, their eyes burning with fanaticism, jumped out, screaming in a foreign tongue. They were terrorists, and they had just sprung their trap. Panic erupted inside the bus. Passengers screamed, their faces etched with terror. They huddled together, seeking solace in numbers, but there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The terrorists, their faces contorted in rage, fired warning shots. The air filled with the acrid smell of gunpowder. The metallic tang of fear hung heavy. They demanded the passengers disembark, their voices harsh and unforgiving. The leader of the Special Forces unit watched the unfolding chaos with a detached calmness. He assessed the situation in a heartbeat. 6 terrorists, AK-47s, possibly explosives. The odds were against them, but they were trained for the impossible. He whispered to his team, "Game on." Their training would be put to the ultimate test. Lives hung in the balance. Failure was not an option. The terrorists, drunk on power and adrenaline, herded the terrified passengers off the bus. They shoved and kicked them, their brutality knowing no bounds. The passengers stumbled out, their faces pale with fear. The leader of the Special Forces unit waited, his eyes cold and calculating. He knew this was their only chance. As the last hostage was forced off the bus, the leader made his move. With a speed that belied his age, he disarmed the terrorist closest to him. The sound of the gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space of the bus. The other passengers gasped, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and disbelief. But this was no time for explanations. The other members of the team sprang into action, their movements swift and precise. Years of training kicked in. They were a blur of motion, taking down the terrorists one by one. Gunfire erupted, the air thick with the smell of cordite. The terrorists, caught off guard, scrambled for their weapons, but it was too late. They were outmatched, outgunned, and outmaneuvered. Within seconds, the bus was secured. The remaining terrorists, realizing the tables had turned, retreated to their jeeps, taking a hostage with them. They sped off into the desert, leaving behind a scene of chaos and carnage. The Special Forces team gathered the terrified passengers, assuring them they were safe. But the mission was far from over. They had to rescue the hostage. The Special Forces team quickly organized, their faces set with determination. They couldn't let the terrorists escape with the hostage. The leader barked orders, his voice cutting through the tension. "We move now. No one gets left behind." With a sense of urgency, they commandeered a vehicle. The engine roared to life and they sped off, hot on the trail of the fleeing terrorists. The desert landscape blurred past, the heat waves distorting the horizon. The chase was on. The terrorists, realizing they were being pursued, pushed their vehicle to its limits. Dust clouds billowed behind them as they navigated the rocky terrain. The Special Forces team followed, their eyes fixed on the target. The leader's mind raced, calculating every move, every possible outcome. Shots were fired, the sound echoing across the barren expanse. The Special Forces team returned fire, their aim steady despite the bumpy ride. The tension was palpable, the stakes higher than ever. They couldn't afford to lose the hostage. Failure was not an option. As the distance between the vehicles closed, the leader knew they had one shot to end this. He gave the signal, and the team prepared for the final assault. The fate of the hostage, and perhaps their own, hung in the balance. The clock is ticking, and every second feels like an eternity. Lives hang in the balance as the tension reaches its peak. The stakes have never been higher, and the pressure is almost unbearable. It's a race against time, and the outcome is uncertain. Will they make it in time, or is it already too late? Only time will tell as the countdown continues. In the heart of chaos, delicate precision meets unwavering courage. Every move calculated, every decision a testament to bravery. The line between success and failure, a mere thread held firm by the resolute. The hostages breathe the air of liberty once more. Freedom, a taste so sweet after the bitter grip of captivity. Relief washes over them, the weight of fear lifted, replaced by the lightness of hope. A reflection on the silent guardians of peace. Their vigilance, often unseen, is the bedrock of our safety. In the shadows they work tirelessly, their dedication unwavering, their sacrifices immense. The long shadow of an averted tragedy. What could have been now just a whisper in the wind. The heroes, their deeds etched in the annals of time, leave behind a legacy of resilience and hope.